Yeah, so alignment is actually pretty interesting. The funny thing is, I play mostly 4th edition, and uh, they really simplified alignment, and I don't think they should have. It went from this broad spectrum covering so many things to 5 different kinds of alignment. Let's see, they have the chaotic evil, neutral, good, and lawful good. So it got really just narrowed down. And for new players who don't really know a lot about alignment, it's probably good for them. But for those of us who've been playing around since like 2nd edition or earlier, who have a decent idea of how alignment works, it's I don't really like it personally. It doesn't really affect the game so much. So why don't you just go ahead and with 4th edition, go ahead and say, hey, listen, if you want to, choose any of the classic alignments. So, but about Paladins, lawful good, with 4th edition, they actually did something that I agreed with. When it comes to, for instance, clerics and paladins, they can have whatever alignment their deity has, or within very close to it. So if you are a paladin and you worship a god that's neutral, then you yourself can be neutral, and you're fighting on behalf of that deity for whatever cause that deity may have, or you feel that your deity has. So, same thing with clerics. Whatever god they worship, they should be able to match that alignment of that deity. It makes sense. If you're worshiping a neutral god and you're lawful good, why would that deity be helping you, empowering your spells and so forth? But now when it comes to monks, I really don't know anything about monks. I never really got into the Oriental adventures or anything like that. I'm strictly the European fantasy, medieval. So, but one thing that's really important to me for my players is for them to not only choose alignment, but communicate with me about what they personally believe their alignment, what they think their alignment means. So we have a basic understanding. And also, they should take the time to understand that character's viewpoints, so that when they're in situations, they already understand the character well enough to be able to roleplay it well. Because they just look at the paperwork and just say, neutral. I'll be neutral, or neutral good. And then that's it. And they look at a quick sentence like, okay, yeah, that's me. But when the situation occurs, and then they try to roleplay, a lot of times, a lot of players don't even roleplay it correctly. They are going outside their alignment, which is a huge pet peeve of mine. My friend Cliff, he always plays neutral, or what used to be called true neutral. And he always plays melee characters. Ranger, rogue, fighter. That's it, nothing else. And he has to be up in their grill, just fighting away at it. But he would do things that I personally look at as being evil. If they capture a monster, and the monster is disarmed, he has no weapons, he's bound up, and he's reluctant to give information because he thinks that his master will hurt him, Cliff, who's playing a neutral character, will be the first one to say, I want to torture this man in the most brutal, horrific ways to get this information. And the funny thing is that if you just give him a second, if you communicate with him and use diplomacy and things like that, he'll give you the information. But Cliff's character does not care. He wants to torture. He wants to do things to his genitalia, all kinds of stuff, because it sounds like fun. To me, that is going into the realm of evil. You are, you're wanting to harm people just for the sake of harming people, when there's no need for it. And then also, another situation was when they're in front of nobility, and the nobility has asked them to come forward, and is saying, we need your help, we will give you money, we'll give you arms. We would send our own soldiers, but our town was just recently attacked, so we need to protect this area, but we hear that you're very good, and we want to hire you. Now, Cliff's character all of a sudden becomes a supreme asshat. He's becoming a complete jerk, rude, to the point where I have to roleplay the nobility as kicking him out. he is ruining negotiations. It's not even negotiations. They are willing to do whatever they can to hire these people to a certain extent. And he's causing so much trouble that he has to be removed from the council. So, I can't stand that. I cannot stand people who do not play their alignment. If you're going to choose alignment, play it. And I will change your alignment for you, if you start going outside of it. That's just how I am. And there usually will be some kind of penalty. But, yeah, back to what I was talking about. Not only choose an alignment, communicate with the DM what's going on, what you believe that alignment represents, and then really think about your character's personality and viewpoints so that you can roleplay it accurately. Because for me, and this may surprise a lot of people out there who are 3rd edition and Pathfinder players, I may play 4th edition a lot of times, well usually, but story and role-playing is extremely important. So, and I'll admit, I miss 3rd edition a lot, and I think about going, sometimes I even think about going back to 2nd edition or even the original. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on alignment, and definitely leave your comments and remarks, and thanks for watching.